Hi, welcome back to Finally Revealed in episode 35 of Be the Change. We're in our second review period, and today I want to welcome anyone who is new to our series or people who are just saying, what is this all about? Be the Change. And so today's episode is going to review a little book that I enjoy and the principles in that for how each one of us, whether we have started on a change, a major change we want to make, and we're working on that project, or for someone stopping by who is interested in doing a little bit better than they were yesterday, or wondering how one person can change the world. And way back when we started this in November, I said that my idea for this was that each one of us is an integral part of our society and of our world. And by each one of us changing ourselves in any way from how we were, it creates a drop, a ripple, a wave, and it does change the world. And when we all do it together, it just magnifies that change. And the reason for that is because we're not in a vacuum. We are interacting in person, online, in other, on video. We're interacting with each other every day. And each person that each one of us impacts then impacts multiple other people. And so that's how it goes out from there. So today I want to talk about the 4 Agreements book by Miguel Ruiz. And it's just a little book, and you can pick it up lots of places, online, anywhere. And I want to go through the 4 agreements and what those 4 agreements are. And it is 4 agreements for each one of us. It's a suggestion for each one of us to incorporate into our daily life. And each one of them stands alone, but then they also go together. So I'm going to give a couple of examples. First agreement is to be impeccable with your word. And this relates to integrity. You would like to act with integrity and talk with integrity, which just means we are doing it in a straightforward manner. We're meaning what we say. We do what we say. So being impeccable with your word means that you're speaking with integrity. You're saying only what you mean, and people can then rely upon it. You look at it the other way. If you're saying things that you don't mean, false compliments, false promises, people see through that fairly quickly. And they also notice the reverse. When you say what you mean, when you're careful with what you say, when you think before you speak, and you realize that your words have power. And if you use your words for truth and love, and not to mislead people or tear people down or confuse them, or just to try to make them feel better in the moment, but you really don't have any intention of following through on what you say, that impacts those relationships. So when you tidy that up and you pay attention to the words that you use so that it's clear, and you'll be able to manage the expectations of what you're going to do or what you're not going to do based upon what you say. So that's number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2 is to not take anything personally. This one can be a challenge. And people say, how can I not take something personally? They're talking to me, or somebody is insulting me or giving me a backhanded compliment, or I overhear someone talking about me. How can I not take that personally? So some ways that you can avoid doing that or stop doing that, if you have a tendency to do that, is to stop thinking about what any strangers or acquaintances think at all. Their opinion doesn't matter. The only opinion truly is your opinion. You may also include those closest to you that you value, who are healthy and are in your life on a regular basis. The most fundamental way to not take things personally is to have strong self-worth and self-confidence. Know your value. Every single person is valuable just simply by being here, without what you produce or what you do for other people, or how good you look, or what kind of car you drive, or what kind of house you live in, or what kind of job you do. You are valuable because you're here, period. To not take things personally means you don't react to what somebody else says. You let it wash over you or move on by, and don't invest in it. You don't jump to conclusions about what they've said. And you realize that what they have said is more about them. It's really a reflection of them. We're mirrors for each other often, and what they are saying about you could reflect an insecurity on their part or some type of a fear. And so in connection with realizing that it's on them, let it go. You don't need to respond. You don't need to fight or defend yourself or say anything. If there was something unkind or that sounded like it was unkind, you could ask, why did you say that? And see if they stop talking, or if they realize, oh, that wasn't very nice, they may apologize. So you could ask that question, but let it go overall. There's no need for you to defend yourself or attack back. It's better to let it go, both in the short term, just to keep moving forward with whatever you're doing, and also in the long term. You don't want to hang on to these comments or slights, again, because you're incorporating it in. You don't even know what the basis for that was. You are taking it on. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with you, and now you're going to waste more time mulling it over. Then you're just going to be internalizing it and attacking yourself with, again, something from someone else that doesn't have any value and doesn't really have any impact on you. If you are a little shaky on your self-confidence, pay attention to who you're spending time with. Who are you around? And what kind of people are they? Are they uplifters, or are they people that nag and pick and gossip? And start paying attention to who you are around and change it. If there are activities that you're involved in that you like, but the people are not so great, change it. You can do that activity with another group of people. And that moves us into number 3, which is don't make assumptions. I kind of think that 2 and 3 should be reversed, because if you deal with don't make assumptions first, then I think it's easier to not take things personally, because in order to take things personally, you are assuming things about what this other person has said to you or about you, or that is related to you. And without those assumptions coming from them, it's easier to not take things personally. So I like to switch those around, and when I hear something that causes me to pause, I look at, am I assuming something about this? Or am I hearing this right? And that can take care of it sometimes all by itself. Now, when you are assuming, you are expecting someone else to know what you want, know what's in your mind, know what you need, and you're attributing all these things to this other person that really is inappropriate. It's not true. You can't really do that to someone else. They don't know what's in your mind. Even if they've spent a lifetime with you or a long time with you, you still have your own mind. So when you feel like you are irritated with someone and you realize you're assuming, ask questions. What did you, like I said a minute ago, what do you mean by that? Why do you say that? Why did you do that? Ask them to explain. Don't always assume. One example is if you're meeting somebody and they're late. Maybe your wife or husband is coming home and you had a special dinner and they're late and they didn't call, and you're furious. Maybe you have guests there, or you were doing a surprise and things are not going to be just as you had them planned, and they come through the door and you attack them because you're thinking they're inconsiderate. How could you do this to me? You've embarrassed me in front of my family or friends, and you're late, or this or that. How about a question? How are you? What happened? Because you're assuming that this was done on purpose to hurt you. Why are you assuming that? Ask them the question. Maybe they had an accident. Maybe they were just fired and drove around the block because they wanted to compose themselves before they came home. Maybe they stopped on the way to get you a gift because they remembered it was your anniversary and they had something special picked out and the shop was running late. You don't know. Ask questions before jumping good or jumping bad. Assumptions can go either way, and they are a means of us protecting ourselves. Sometimes it keeps a fantasy alive. Sometimes it protects us and protects our feelings. Sometimes it can help us avoid a vulnerable or difficult conversation. And oftentimes that's because we're now looking at an outcome instead of a situation. We want things to be a certain way, we want things to stay the same, or we want things to be okay. So try to look at things from different viewpoints, deal with things the way they are, and ask more questions. the better communication we can all have, the better our relationships, the better we all deal with each other, and the less strife and negativity there is in the world. And then the final one, which relates to the other three but also stands on its own, is always do your best. And realize that your best is different every moment, every hour, and every day. And so when you always do your best, you avoid beating up on yourself later. You avoid leaping into either procrastination or perfectionism, because those are usually talking about the best. And here we're saying do your best. Your best in the moment. Did you wake up late? Are you rushing around? Do you have a busy day? Do you have as much time to spend on something as you normally do? Are you tired? Do you have a cold? Do you have allergies? What's impacting what you're doing today? And do the best that you can on that particular task, on that particular day, and then leave it. Deal with today. Our power is in the present. The only time that we can impact anything is right now. I've talked on other videos about living and acting consciously, being aware, being present in the moment, paying attention to what we're doing. That's all going to help you also do your best. If your activity is preparing for something that's coming up later in the week, and you do your best on this part today and the next part tomorrow, then when you get to that tryout or you get to that presentation or that meeting, you will be doing the best, probably, not just your best. By doing the best that you can in that circumstance, then sometimes you're going to take things personally, but you're not going to beat yourself up. You're going to do the best that you can. Sometimes you're going to still make an assumption, but you're doing the best that you can that day or that time or that situation, and being impeccable with your word. No one is perfect, and sometimes we're rushed or we're tense and something comes out and says, or we just stick our foot in the mouth and we just say the wrong thing or to the wrong person at the wrong time, and we realize it. And as you pay attention to each of these four factors, you're going to notice when you're slipping up. But guess what? You're going to notice it really a lot closer to when it happens. And as it sounds bad, but if you mess up but you realize it at that moment, you've made a lot of progress, because you're right on the verge of not doing it the next time. And again, nobody's perfect. You're doing it the best that you can at that moment, and that moment changes every day. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions below. I hope that these 4 agreements will help you in your life and help transform you, give yourself a break, do better for yourself, and have a greater impact on your immediate world and the world at large. Even by just modeling these behaviors and having people notice, you'll become more reliable, more credible, you'll have more integrity in yourself, you'll have more self-confidence, and you'll stop beating yourself up. And everybody does that from time to time, but you'll be able to start moving forward on the initiatives and the tasks and the projects that you want. Share this with someone it might benefit. Subscribe to see the other videos, and come back and see me next time. Thanks for watching.